Hey everyone, I'm Britt and I'm here with Mr. Ambitious and this is the Justice for Georgia podcast. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently and today we pretty much just wanted to have like a real conversation and just a back and forth dialogue on activism and following the footsteps of great legends that have inspired us, as well as what fuels us in this fight, as well as some things that happen when we're out protesting to really break down full lifestyle, pretty much. So,
right. There are some interesting stories and different people you'll meet doing this, and just want to touch on a few of those things today.
Just a little bit. So, I want to ask Mr. Ambitious first, how did you get started in this fight? Just fight for what? So explain too when it comes to activism.
Right, so activism, if I had to give it a definition from my perspective, is making a change that you see as necessary in society and doing what you can personally to make that happen. And so for me, I came into the fight like Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin, that struck a nerve with me because me being a small kid, I was picked on a lot. People like to put their hands on me just for fun, just for laughs sometimes. And so for him to fight back, I like deeply identify with that. Like I'm strong in the martial arts and all that other stuff. And for him to get the better of somebody who was following him and trying to take advantage of the fact that he looked suspicious just to commit a murder, and actually did take advantage of that, sadly.
Even against police orders.
Right. How do you have a phone recording of a person telling you not to break the law, you break the law,
you still do it.
Still get off.
And the fact that you get off and you have the gall to even be putting his autograph on Skittles and Arizona drinks, you know, Zimmerman can always go to the deepest depths of hell to me. I definitely understand that. I think we all know where we were at the moment when we found out that verdict. Do you recall where you were and what you were doing when you found out the verdict that he was found not guilty?
Yeah, I was driving. Yeah, that shook me to my core. As a matter of fact, I think I was driving to go pick up something for my sister. I can't remember exactly what, but I remember I was on my way to the store, put over to the side of the road, and I just had to take a moment to breathe.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, that was like, how do you do that, get away with it, and everybody's fine with that? Is ultimately what the judge, lawyers, jury,
even though everyone's not fine with that, going against the masses, because people were outside protesting. His own family didn't show up because they were like, we already know it's some bullshit. I was at home with my mom and I remember we were both silent and just sitting on her bed, and she was crying and I was just sitting at the foot of her bed just silent, because it's like you automatically feel that once you know, and I'm one of those people, when I'm in shock of something, sometimes I just can't talk. So when it came to Trayvon Martin, it fueled, I feel that.
So I mean, like, for me, that was like, yo, somebody gotta do something about this, like, immediately, because more than likely with my attitude and the way I handle situations, I would end up being Trayvon Martin very quickly.
I think we all would.
I have no problem whooping your ass. I will turn the other cheek and move out the way, but if you bruise me, expect to get something broken. I'm sorry.
And most people who are killed by white supremacists and police brutality, they do fight back. They know, and they're fighting for their lives, and that's one of the things that kind of inspires me to keep fighting for them. So especially with Trayvon Martin, if you ever did hear the clips, which you could Google you could hear him in the background. He was fighting and he was screaming. So, I definitely feel that. What got me into the fight was Tamir Rice. When Tamir Rice happened, I pretty much, well, I won't say that's what got me into the fight, but that's what got my attention on civil rights and injustice. Because what happened with Tamir Rice, that was a baby, and they didn't give him no chance, y'all. Like, the officer, from what I've seen from the video, it looks like he's shooting while he's opening the door while the car is still moving.
Exactly.
There was no, hey you, there was no, what is that in your hand? There was no, where are your parents? You know, it's just, oh, my heart gets heavy every time I think about Tamir Rice at least twice a day. So, along with everyone else that circulates in my head.
That shook me because this was a kid doing kid things in a kid place, and the cop pulls up and does a drive-by.
Oh my God. You know, I never said that, but that is literally a drive-by.
He just his partner pulls up to the side of him, and they're like literally like feet away from the kid. So I mean, you can see before getting out of the car, he's playing with toys.
And he was so little. He was so little. I can't understand putting a bullet through a baby's body like that. So that piqued me. But what really got me into the fight was this year, to be honest with you. We came out May 29th to protest on behalf of George Floyd. But before I came out to the protest, something just made me look up police brutality cases here in Georgia. And that's when I made the poster that a lot of people see, which I will insert in this video, where it has everyone's name written in red that has been killed by police brutality here in Georgia. And at the time, I was helping Hannah with Promote Positivity Movement. Shout out to Hannah. She would give me about 15 to 20 minutes every day to speak on Justice for Georgia and to speak on these names. So I was just fueled from that, and then I met, some of the families, and I can't stop. Like, I've given them my whole life, and I love them. I have my own personal relationship with them, so they fuel me to keep going, and they're definitely what's gonna make me not stop.
And I gotta say, as we will talk about here in a few moments, I've met a lot of people in the fight for justice, for change, and just people who want to disrupt the culture. And I've seen a lot of wolves in sheep clothing, and I gotta say, I am so happy to know you.
Oh my God.
So happy. I mean, you restored my faith in people, seriously.
You know what? At the end of the day, honestly, I've heard a lot about wolves in sheep clothing. We will talk about that. But I will just say that my heart is honest when it comes to the people. My heart is honest. I feel something. I think of everyone as someone's baby, So even with these moms, I think of them as my baby, even though, and I get very protective. Even with y'all don't see it on camera, of course, but when I greet Steven, I'm like, you gotta give me my hug. When I greet Rasheen, you gotta give me my hug. Naya, all of them, because I really have a heart. So I know that there's other people that are authentic too, and if we just keep operating like this, it's also gonna pique more people. There's kids who are young that are hungry.
Oh yeah.
They're like, oh, I want the governor's seat because you're not doing right by the people, and I know, and I'm only in 7th grade. Ooh, if I could vote, da da da. There was a 16-year-old named Lydia who came around, and she would come to our protest, and she would even teach me sometimes about local legislation and what's happening right in that moment, which would help me in my fight when it comes to these families. So shout out to Lydia. But yeah, there's gonna be change, but we don't talk about that.
I was about to say, your lady is my Royce.
So what is your focus point in this fight? I think you kind of covered it when you talked about, Trayvon Martin, but pretty much.
For me, I think, love, the best way I can describe love is seeing someone as yourself. Mm-hmm. And so for me, Javis saw everybody as himself. So I got into this fight because I saw Trayvon as myself. But I'm in this fight to the end because the person that killed was the one person that shouldn't have killed. Javis loves everybody. Even you You could be the most disrespectful to Jay. He would laugh in your face and be like, all right, man, whatever. Go ahead, sit on the other side. I'm going to sit on this side. I'm about to order some pizza. What you want? That's just the kind of guy he was. He just wanted.
I was explaining that to someone yesterday at the protest. I was like, look at his poster, and from what his family has told me, even though he was a little bit tall and he was, a man at the same time, he apparently Steven would be the one willing to whoop someone's ass compared to Jadis. And he was, sweet and goofy and charming. So we have to keep fighting for him.
Definitely. So
we have to keep fighting for him. I feel you on that. I see myself a lot with a lot of them as well. That's another thing that keeps me in this fight. Because Jamarian Robinson, we're all Jamarian Robinson. If you've ever been at a friend's house, he was at a friend's house when the no-knock warrant was served. So you're Jamarian Robinson. With Jabril Robinson, we're all Jabril Robinson. If you've ever gotten in an argument with your girlfriend or boyfriend, you're Jabril Robinson. Rayshard Brooks, we're all Rayshard Brooks. If you've ever gotten drunk, which we all know that drunk uncle, our friend Art, me sometimes, during the holiday, and I need to sleep it off in my car, god damn it. Let me sleep it off in my car, And none of those cases does a bullet need to be involved. Right. With Jadis Benjamin, we're all Jadis Benjamin. If you've ever been in a car accident, you're Jadis Benjamin. With Jimmy Atchison, we're all Jimmy Atchison. If you've ever had someone lie on you because they secretly want to be with you or whatever jealous reason, you're Jimmy Atchison. So any of us could be in any of these cases. Jarvis likes, if you've ever been on your way to work and you've seen a police stop and you're late for work and you're trying to take the shortcut and you don't have any alcohol in your system, you're Jarvis likes. So,
or even somebody who's been to jail, gotten out, and getting their life together, and you're at work, and the cops come in a full SWAT team to come and get you. Like, can you imagine being on parole, doing the right thing, and then a SWAT team shows up and murders you? I mean, like, come on. What kind of shit is that? Like, he was at work. He wasn't like in some trap house somewhere, and they show up with, what? So I just, yeah.
And then say that he's driving at them, but the coroner is like, well, the bullet was from the back. So that shows that. You take your body cams off, but like Miss Robinson always says, the bodies are the body cameras, okay? The evidence is on the bodies, on what happened to them. And all that we've said, none of it constitutes for a bullet.
Right.
So my focus point is civil rights, civil justice, but also getting these systematic racist ass motherfuckers out of here. And I'm talking about the governors, the district attorneys, the ones that really have the pull when it comes to your case and when it comes to local laws, because local laws do affect these cases, which we always talk about. So who inspires you to keep fighting? Which I feel like I already know this answer.
Well, okay, go ahead. What do you think?
I think you're gonna say your brother, of course, and your mom. No?
No.
Okay, I was wrong.
My inspiration to keep going is my daughters.
Oh my God.
I mean, if I was to try and see one of my kids in any of these situations, I don't want to. But when I see Sandra Bland in her videos, I see Audrey. Audrey has no problem telling you wrong, why you wrong, and where you can go to study to figure out why you figured out you was wrong. Real quick. And just this attitude and this strength. I think she has the perfect name, honorable strength. That's what Audrey means.
Wow.
And whenever she speaks and tells me like, Dad, you need to get that right, that resonates with me. Like, I need to show her how to control this and kind of do it a little bit better so that maybe she could be Sandra Bland for that next generation. Hopefully on something like climate control, not killing other black people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can have this song.
Or not being killed, just trying to live. That much.
So, yeah, she, Cameron, Maxine, they are the reasons why I refuse to give up, because I want to leave them a world better than the one I got. And
That's real.
I don't want them to have to come home thinking about my grandkids and great grandkids, hoping they don't get killed just because religious kid.
That's real. I actually always say the same answer. I don't have kids, but I always say that I am fighting for the kids that I'm gonna have one day, because I want to do my part, even if it's a little chip. I want to do my part to ensure that this world is a better place for them. It's for the generations coming up. We dealt with our own racism in our own way. People that are our age try to act like we didn't deal with racism, and I'm like, hello, I am a dark-skinned woman with natural hair under a sew-in. I get so much shit every day, y'all, just for like existing. Like, oh my God, and which we will talk about when it comes to annoying things and things that happen when we're out trying to advocate goddamn justice. Y'all petty ones want to come around and talk about something else that has nothing to do with justice
At all.
But
just keep your eyes on the prize.
come on, Alright, so continuing on, we're going to talk about different things that have happened while we're out advocating. So, what is one of, I don't know how to ask this, but pretty much like, I don't want to say your best protest, but what protest have you ever been a part of that you're like, yeah, I'm proud, like that was good, we did that thing, you know?
Okay, so there was, way back in, I can't remember dates.
That's fine.
I'm horrible with that. But we did a national stop police incarceration, police brutality, murder in a Black Lives Matter, before Black Lives Matter, all in one day. And I was responsible for help organize like a public trial of the system. Okay. And we basically put the justice system on trial. We went through the cases at that time, Kevin Davis, King Thomas, so on and so forth. Wow. And speaking of how the system failed them in the justice system, like different checks that's supposed to be there for checks and balance on the police, accountability, the DA.
If you guys don't know about Kevin Davis, please look him up. His story is one of those stories where he was calling for help, and instead he was treated as a suspect, and he should still be here today. So please look up Kevin Davis' name if you don't know his story, because that's such a disturbing story.
It's so disturbing, not only the fact that he survived the actual shooting, but he died in a hospital.
Days later, right? Was it 3 days later?
I think so, 3 days later. And
his family wasn't allowed to see him.
They weren't allowed to see him. They was treating him like he was a suspect in a crime, even though the criminals were the cops who killed him.
And didn't they wait until after he died to take the handcuffs off of him?
Right, exactly.
Which I'm just like, see, here's the thing. We'll just go ahead. We got time. So with Kevin Davis, pretty much what happened with him, and correct me if I'm wrong, these stories be circulating in my head, but pretty much with Kevin Davis, I believe that his girlfriend had been getting stalked or something, and then she got attacked, and he called the police, and the police arrived on the scene.
Right.
As soon as he opened the door to let them in to help his girlfriend, they shot him.
Right. Okay, now I gotta brush up on the case too now.
Yeah.
From what I understand, they were basically knocking and were just coming into the house unannounced. He heard them, grabbed his gun.
Because he thought the attacker was back. You're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
The attacker was back.
They didn't knock. They just came in. Now, if your girlfriend has just been viciously attacked, I think she was being stabbed repeatedly. It was something like that. But pretty much she's bloodied up. Your girlfriend's being attacked, and then someone just walks in with, a gun drawn, or, I forgot exactly, but you guys can look it up pretty much. They came in very threatening like. He didn't let out a warning shot like Katherine Johnson did, who was murdered by police, just putting a warning shot in the air when they completely served a no-knock warrant for no reason in her house. He was pretty much, I believe, just still holding the gun, and then they just shot him rather than even talking or anything like that. So, messed up story, completely messed up. But What happened with that event? What did you guys do with that
So
exactly, with breaking down the cases and stuff?
it was very visual. They had a casket with all the people's pictures and the faces of everyone, and it was broadcast. Like I said, it was a national protest, and I was with the Atlanta representation of it.
Nice.
And it really got the point across to a lot of people. After that, it was like news stations, and people were reaching out to the families, and I think that actually led to. I wouldn't say it was the point that made the scale tip, but I think it was a good part of helping the cases move forward.
It's definitely a shaker to see the pictures and stuff like that. Social disturbance is a good way of making good trouble. You do have to kind of shake things up. Right. That actually sounds good.
Right, and it was very organized. Everybody had a part. They did their part, and it all played out so smoothly. Even with the chaos of the day and the emotions and everything happening.
Of course.
Everything's not gonna go perfectly according to plan.
There's no such thing as a perfect protest, y'all. You want to know how your protest is perfect? If you didn't get arrested and you got your point across, then you could be like, whew, good job, y'all. We did good. Now, if you got arrested, that's great. You still, you got your status. But when I come home at night, I'm very happy to come home. And when I get my message out, we were successful, y'all. One of the most successful protests, I would say, for Justice for Georgia was, again, Miss Robinson. She likes to light a fire. We call it Shekinah when that jumps out, pretty much. But there was this protest that was happening that the People's Uprising was hosting, which they did an amazing job of it. They had wanted her to be a part of it, but because her schedule had been conflicting, we couldn't get her to be a part of it. So I was gonna, just show up as a representation for her, just holding a Jamar Robinson poster. The morning of the protest, I get a call from Miss Robinson. Hey, I want to be a part of the protest and I want to speak. Basically make it happen. You got 6 hours pretty much. So I'm like, okay, now I gotta switch my whole day. This is terrible. Let me call everybody from Justice for Georgia and see what we can do. And y'all, when I say that showed me more than anything, one thing I love about Miss Roberts, she shows me don't take no for an answer and just believe in yourself, keep going, because you can make it. It'll happen. If you want it to happen, it'll happen. So I'm pretty much calling everybody like, hey y'all, I'm gonna need you at this block, I need you at this block. I'm gonna need you to be watching over her and watching over his brother and watching over her mother. We need to make sure that the public can't really get to them. We need to make sure that we get them in front of the crowd, okay? You and I need to be in front. We need to be leading everybody, walking. And we got her not only to the top middle of the stairs, we got her to be able to speak. We got the crowd to even chant for Jamarian Robinson. And I will say very successful because we got write-ups on her, and that's when her civil suit started moving a little bit faster, which she's still in, but that's when her attorney started getting calls like, okay, now y'all want to try to work something out or try to talk now. So I think that was very successful.
Look at you! The logistics and whatnot.
I have about 3 heart attacks a day. So
sounds about right. Yeah, give or take.
All right, we're gonna kind of switch gears now. Now, being out on the streets, we're in the streets. Yeah. Being in the streets. Okay, so we've seen everything. I've seen everything, y'all. I know Steven's seen everything. I need to know. I'm gonna ask you a few though, but one, what is your most funniest thing? I'll start off light. What is your most funniest thing you've seen at a protest? Because funny things do happen at a protest.
Funny.
Oh, I got mine ready. Ooh,
go ahead.
Okay. Y'all, the funniest thing that I've seen happen at a protest was we're out at Centennial every single day. Everybody knows me pretty much at this point. We've been out here for over 200 days now, consistently. And this guy had a Trump sign, even though Trump's lost. He had a Trump sign and a skateboard across the street. And y'all, when I say every time this man tried to make it across the street to us, a car would literally like almost hit him, be like honking, and so like he would have to jump out of the way, jump off the skateboard. And did I laugh? Yes, because I can. And because it's like, okay, yeah, you're trying your little petty racist things. You know, there's a lot of people that come up to me and try things. So the fact that the universe and gravity with the cars and just all that stuff was just working in a good way to make sure this man, like when I say every time he tried to make it across the street, it was just not working. So that to me was one of the funniest things I've seen at a protest.
Oh man.
It was like 4 or 5 attempts. And then he went like down the block and came like up the block. But by that time, I was packing up, so.
Won't he do it?
He did. And I'm a Scorpio, so I can like look you in your eyes and be in Jamaica. I didn't hear him. I didn't hear anything he had to say. I was just packing my stuff up. So now you, what is the funniest thing you've seen at a protest?
Funniest thing for me at a protest was there was somebody who wanted to give us advice on what to do. And while she was talking, it was a very windy day. I think it was after we did the march for Martin Luther King downtown. I think it was led by Britt J. I was there with my mom.
Okay, yeah.
And one of my godmoms, I got like 7 godmoms. Mama Sales, what you doing? Afterwards, it was like I got heated because the sheriff was saying some crazy stuff, and I wanted to go up there and say some stuff to the sheriff. And Mama Sales, they like, Steve, calm down, calm down. Mm-hmm. And so I guess
shout out to Mama Monty.
There's this woman, I guess, who saw it, and she wanted to come and talk to me afterwards and give me some encouraging words of, you need to shut up. So, as she's speaking to me, I'm like getting more and more angry, and I was like, no, you know what? Let her have her moment. So she's like holding on to my shirt, like, yeah, young man, da 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 da. And I'm just looking at her like, okay, you got it. And the wind started to take up. And as she's getting more and more, I guess, into the spirit of being like another mom to me, the wind starts to take her wig up. And so I'm looking at her scalp and I'm thinking to myself, you got all these tips for me and my soul and how I need to
Just put a little gorilla glue.
just a little, just a dab, something. And I think to myself, you got all this advice, why don't you tell whoever's doing your head to stop playing? That's what I wanted to say.
Stop playing.
So for me, it was like, I felt like I was having a little sense of humor with me. It was like, all right, Steve, take what she's saying in stride, because
I'm not good at that. When people come to there's a lot of, we'll talk about it, not the ones that support us, but there's a lot of people that will come up and tell us what we need to do, what we should do, how it's done. And it's like when you listen to them, they got all this fire and brimstone for you, but then when you ask them, well, what have you done? It's nothing. It's like, let me tell you something right now, okay? I am a sweetheart. I really am. I don't play about these families. And when I know something, I know something. And when I'm talking about local legislation, and when I'm talking about Jamar Robinson deserves justice, Javis Benjamin deserves justice, Kendrick Johnson deserves justice, when I'm talking about that, you can't tell me nothing. You can't. So I am always in student mode as far as if you inspire me and if you are fighting the fight and what I can learn. I feel like we can all learn from each other, but at the same time, if you're someone random and it's your first time protesting and you're uncomfortable, so you want to tell me that maybe I shouldn't yell their names because it makes you feel like you're being yelled at, I'm gonna tell you this like I told the white guy the other day. I think this suggestion would better serve you on a social media post because I'm not the one to really listen to that, and I don't really have the time for that. I'm here really fighting. I'm here really organizing. I'm here really watching over everyone's safety, making sure no one's taking pictures of us from afar, pointing a gun at us from afar, running at us from afar. There have been times when people have came up to us with cups full of piss and have thrown it in our directions. I'm busy, okay? I don't have time for what you think would make you feel comfortable to come out. Since when is a protest comfortable?
That part.
One time, one of y'all, now I will say one of y'all, made the mistake, and some of my friends and some of these people who are going to be watching are going to know exactly what I'm talking about, and I am official Britt J on all social media platforms, so if you have something to say, please feel free. But one of y'all had the nerve to tell me, we got a vibe at a protest. Since when is a protest a vibe?
Right.
It's a fight. A fight. I'm trying to save lives. I'm trying to save my own life. I'm trying to help people. I'm risking my life. I am risking my supporters' lives, the ones who come out and stand with me. And I gotta make sure everyone gets home safe. So there's so many things that are on our minds.
Right.
Also, another thing is, I know there's people that come up when you're fighting about, when you're talking about, you know, yeah, I know you said something probably to the fact of, oh yeah, you know, you gotta focus on these names, know these names, or something like that. Then there's those people that'll be like, well, what about local legislation? Well, what about affordable housing? Well, what about, you know, what's happening here, there, here, there, here, there? Do you not think, you don't think about that?
Right. We understand that this is just a part of the problem, but this is like the 80-20 rule. You put in 20%, you get 80% of the change. If we stop killing black people, you'll see an 80% change in the black community, right? So then we can focus on getting the environment straight. But if not even the environment is killing me, am I gonna be concerned with the dolphins? I'm sorry, they are some beautiful, majestic creatures. But to hell with them little shits if I gotta be worried about going to the store to get something to eat. I mean, like, seriously.
Seriously. And it's not that we don't have the heart for those things. You guys, think about how I felt. I am this is in the middle of the Black Lives Matter movement. I got all these families on my shoulders. I tell people all the time. And SARS happens. And I'm Nigerian. I had so many people that were like, why? And Hannah, who's Ethiopian, you know, with her organization, things been going on in Ethiopia. And people are coming at her like, well, why are you focusing on this? Why aren't you doing this? I don't brag about what I do. If I'm doing something for the community, know that I already have a heart for the community, so I'm probably already doing something. I was focused on, of course, Justice for Georgia, but I would do things like, okay, let me drop off these supplies to the NSARS protesters. Let me make sure everyone has the Atlanta jail support number written on them or on their clothing, so just in case something happens. Let me make sure I go over with everyone real quick. I only have this hour to just go over know your rights. You know, I was doing my part. What are you doing? Those who are so critical. Even though we already kind of just talked about that, I still want to know, what is your pet peeves when it comes to things that happen when you're trying to organize a protest and certain things happen or certain people come up to you? Like, what's a pet peeve of yours?
I don't know. I'm a fancy and free kind of guy. I like to just let things.
He's an Aquarius.
Just vibe, like your boy said, or your girl, whoever said it. I like to just go with the flow, but I don't mean by vibe like I'm looking for.
Who vibes at a protest? Look, boom. Who vibes at a protest? I was so mad, y'all.
I've become that person, like for real. Like I want like some kind of structure. Because, like you said, it's a lot going on at a protest. You gotta run security. That's like one of the main concerns I have.
And most of the time, we're our own security.
That's sad in and of itself. The fact that we have already had to face losing someone to the police, and we don't have nobody that wanna come and at least keep us safe because we're targets just for speaking up to prevent it from happening to you. So, security, please believe me. I was out in Vegas, and when we was out there, where we were meeting at, there was unmarked cop cars, just all around the building, across the street. And it looked like they had a sniper team down the street.
Of course.
And it was 2 protests going on at once. And we had to pull the plug. I mean, shout out to Nisa and Oja, my fellow activists out in Vegas. They've been doing it a long time. And so we was out there, and Vic. Shout out to Bro Vic up in New York. He's with Families United for Justice up in New York, and he's been doing it a long time. So much power in all those people. But yeah, while we was out there, and they basically had, like previous week, someone was killed at one of the protests. So security, that's a big deal. Beyond that, just getting the point across, like you said, that is the main point of the protest. So that's something for me. The pet peeve for me is just everything kind of flowing. And a lot of it can be prevented, and it just comes down to being short-man. You know, it's like we don't have enough willing bodies. It's a lot of people who have good intentions, but their feet don't seem to follow those same intentions.
He said it so perfectly, y'all. I'm so much meaner than that. You said that perfectly. Yes, they do have good intentions. The feet just can't follow, and to me, that makes no sense. Like that, it would have been a run-on sentence with me, and it makes no sense. But my pet peeves, I actually get annoyed by a lot, but it's not at anyone's fault. Well, it kind of is sometimes. So, I'm an introvert, and so a lot of people don't realize that I'm kind of shy, and I kind of don't like to talk a lot, unless I really know you, or unless I really have something to say, just because that's who I am. I feel like I'm overstepping my boundaries whenever I talk to someone, because I'm like, am I disturbed? Maybe I'm disturbing them. I don't know. I'm just one of those people, so a lot of things annoy me that sometimes aren't people's fault, and then there are things that annoy me that are people's fault. So we'll just go through it real quick. All right. So
take notes.
Pretty much, one of the things that really annoys me is when it is 30 minutes before the protest, and my phone starts blowing up, and everyone all of a sudden is like, where do I go? What do I do? What is my name? Like, I'm just like, I can't answer these questions. One, I don't know where you live. Two, I am busy right now. Like, I like to scout out locations like right when I get there. So I always get to a location like maybe 40 minutes before, just scouting out, making sure it's safe for everyone. If I need to switch something last minute, just being ready. So that's a pet peeve of mine. Like, I'm sorry, I love y'all so much, but please do not call me 30 minutes before the protest. Unless it is something like, hey, we actually have the district attorney right here that you need to speak to. Let's talk to them now. Other than that, another pet peeve of mine is when, yes, there's chaos in protests, but it's organized chaos. It's good trouble. It's a part of good trouble. I don't like when people come up to your already organized protest and be like, hey, we need to do this now, and you need to do this now, and we need to take pictures now, and we need to eat now, and we need to do this now. It's like, boy, I need you to stand with that poster right there and wait 5 more minutes for those people to finish with their poster and wait for us to do what we have to do, and we can take pictures at the end. Thank you so much. Love you kindly. Like, please. It's organized, y'all. And honestly, if you want to help, be a part of the help. Right. Come through as soon as you hear about it and be like, hey, I'd like to help. Because 9 times out of 10, we need help. So
just not the day of, 15 minutes before,
or the moment of.
Like, come on. Like, who are you? Why are you telling me to do this? I don't even know who you are.
But who are you? Speaking of who are you, do not come to my protest and then be like, so I'm gonna tell you why this wasn't a good protest. That has actually happened. And I'm like, who are you? Like, who are you? Do you know what our objective was? Do you know what we did? What time is it? When did we start? You know, like, it's like, don't come negative, basically. You know, come humble, come wanting to do what you want to do. If you want to fight for justice, and if this is what the person is saying do to ensure that y'all are safe and for it to stay organized because you're a part of it, all right. And if you don't like it, I always tell people, throw your own thing. Hell, I might even show up. Might not talk to you, but I'll still show up with my posters. So, you know,
right.
It's like, come on.
That's some warm bodies. We get patriotic. You know what I mean? This is a group effort, and for the most part, when people see different organizations getting together, it makes them believe that there's some validity to it. So you don't have to be the centerpiece to everything, and we don't necessarily want to be the centerpiece for
I
everything.
never want to be the centerpiece, y'all. I throw the protest because it's what I believe, but please know that on the inside, this one at least, I'll speak for me, because Steven's a little bit different. I am terrified. I'm scared as shit. Okay, and I'm gonna like dance while I say it because it's the truth. I am terrified. I have used the bathroom about like 5,000 times before a protest. I'm terrified because you are putting yourself out there. We've seen activists who have come out hard, and when they see that there's a light in you and that you have the potential to have a voice, we've seen them be taken out. So it's terrifying. I think about my family, you know, my mom and stuff like that. So I'm terrified, but on the outside, I am strong warrior. And even on the inside, I'm still strong warrior, but yeah. There is a fire that comes over you. Like there's that fear at first, but when you're there and you're looking that officer in the face and you feel it, there's no fear. It's like, oh, it's you. You're the one that I need to talk to. And you know, it's like, get it done.
I wish I could say that.
I go up to them. There's actually, I'll insert the video of when I confronted the officers with the body picture of Jamarian after that successful protest that I said basically, and I'm going up to them and I'm like, do you care? Do you care? Do you care? Tapping on it, that a mother had to see her son like this. Do you care? Yes or no? Yes or no? And I've seen the video so many times because it doesn't look like me to me, and it kind of scares me to watch myself like that. But in the moment, there's no fear. And I'm like, you don't care. You always don't care. It's not in you. You know, and I'm going at them. And it's, whew. In those moments, it's like...
Definitely. Okay. Most of the time, whenever I actually speak to them about these things, it's pure hostility coming from me. I just be real. It's just, to hell with you and everybody that live in your house. That's pretty much all I can say to them. But there was this one time where the event was supposed to be a discussion of what we can do to prevent the police brutality and extrajudicial murders that have been happening. Mm-hmm. I saw it. I was like, oh my God. Yes, they're going to have a police officer on the panel that wants to help make change. Exactly what we need, right? I'm trying to call the people
because we already know. Exactly.
So I'm trying to call the people to get in touch with them, see if I can at this time, I was like, I want my mom to be on the panel because I was like, she'll do it a whole lot better than me. My mom's dignified, she's well-spoken.
Very educated.
Highly intelligent. Whereas me, I'm a little ratchet. I don't give a fuck. So, with me understanding that at that time, I was trying to put my mom on. It wasn't returning phone calls. Drag my mom out to this event. Drag my girls out with me. And we basically were just pulling together everything we had just left at the last minute. Got there. And they asked us questions, to the crowd. Not us specifically, but to the crowd. And I had posed the officer a question, and I posed the whole panel a question, saying that what happened to Javis and what they could do to make a change. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, they were just saying, "Oh, you want us to do something? Oh, we're just trying to have a conversation about what we can do to do something about it." And at this point, I basically told the officer and everybody on the panel, yo, y'all ain't gotta help us. Y'all just here to stroke your egos. We in here in the Civil Rights Museum, downtown. And y'all wanna sit up here with these hallowed papers and pictures on the wall and disrespect that memory by making yourselves feel good and your egos feel good. Y'all ain't gotta help me. I'm gonna fight to the day I die to get justice for my brother. Y'all gonna watch it happen, and y'all gonna sit at home and see that y'all could have had the opportunity to be a part of it. As far as I'm concerned, I told that officer, we part of the problem, your friend's a problem, and you know what the problem is and they ain't doing shit about it. You sit on the stage and doing shit for me, you ain't doing it for them in the audience, you just want to just clear your conscience. And I promise you, the rest of the night, I just saw him with his head down. And it was like, even if you want to say I convicted him, or the words I used convicted him, no, he knew it was true. The truth convicted him. So, yo, people.
You'll see it when you speak to these officers, y'all. To me, I used to say, yes, I do believe that they're good cops because, but I feel like even the good cops are a part of the problem. Really a part of the problem. And you'll see it when you speak to them because, of course, they always start with a conversation, and the good ones. They always start with a conversation, and I want to help, and I want to, talk to you and see what we can resolve to bridge a gap. But as you get into that conversation and as you listen, let me tell you about y'allselves, okay? You're not smart. You're not, because you end up telling on yourselves in those conversations every time. I've had those same conversations.
Right.
And literally, it's laughable. I give everyone, try it. They won't shoot you. Just keep your phone in your pocket. That's what I did. I told one that I was like, I'm keeping my phone in my pocket because I'm not reaching for anything while I'm talking to you. I don't trust you. But we're going to have this conversation, and it ends up just being smoke and mirrors.
Oh my goodness.
Knowing that you could do something, knowing you could even say something, but you don't.
They provocative victims. That's what I get from all of them. All the good cops that I spoke to are provocative victims. I'm doing my best, but no, either you do or you don't. There is no try. So you can miss me with all that bullshit.
Do you know what your badge represents? Do you understand what it represents to us? What we look at it? You may see it as honor. You may see it as protecting the community. But what we've learned from your badge and what other people have learned from your badge is it's privilege that you could kill someone like me or someone like Steven or anyone for any reason with your body cam off, even though you're supposed to have it on. Who goes to work and turns the work cameras off? It makes no sense. Your badge to me represents hunting. Your badge to me makes me feel more threatened than when I walk past a pimp or whether I walk past a blood or a crip on the street. My heart drops when an officer gets behind me. I don't have anything in my car. I ain't did nothing to nobody. But if an officer gets beside me, I get anxiety. Your badge to me represents a lot to me. It represents hate to me. So if you're wearing that badge, it doesn't matter if you're saying you're a good cop. I'm seeing a repeated, factor when it comes to your badge that you're getting to wear. So we need to.
And for me, I see slave catchers.
Mm-hmm.
I see paid mercenaries. I see loan sharks.
Yeah.
None of the stuff they say that cops are supposed to do as a kid did I really ever see.
Never.
I was told they come and they check to make sure you're okay. If someone's trying to harass you, they get rid of them.
They can give you something to eat if you're hungry. I heard that growing up as a kid, but what I saw growing up as a kid and what I saw growing up as a teen and what I saw growing up as a young adult and now as an adult is something completely different. What I saw was harshness. What I saw was I better make sure personally that I'm not in no shit so that I can make it home to my family safe so that I can live, because you can choose to misunderstand me. I have to make sure that I'm hearing everything you're saying properly and doing everything properly. You can choose to decide whether or not you want to see me grabbing for my cell phone, and you can choose in that moment whether or not you want to just yell gun,
right,
or whether or not you're going to let this girl live. So we kind of went on a tangent and didn't finish the pet peeves. I have a lot of pet peeves when it comes to this fight. Being a woman out here, men, know your place, okay? And you're not before me, you're not above me, you do not have more rights than me. And if I'm leading, step to the side. And if you don't like what I'm saying, be respectful and step away. But know who you're talking to. One of my biggest issues that I have is leading up, and this happens probably every other day, is a man will come up to me and ask me a random question like, have you had an abortion? What other men are leading this? Because why are you leading this?
Do you want your ass beat? I couldn't be there. You better than me. Nah. Who the fuck?
I'm not that good.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, shout out to Mr. Smiley from across the street that runs across and saves their lives. And shout out to Mike and shout out to Johnny for holding it down, because there's been plenty of times where I've wanted to put my foot up their ass. As a woman, yes, I've chosen to be a leader. I I didn't really choose it. It kind of chose me, but at the same time, I'm here. So if I have something to say, it's of relevance, and respect me. I give everybody respect. I'm super nice. But you're not gonna get to disrespect me just because I'm a civil servant. You're not gonna get to do that for the community. You're not gonna get to do that. And you have no power over me. I'm not against men leading. I'm not against, anyone could lead in this fight as long as you're doing something, but what you won't do is think that you're superior than anybody else.
To hell with all that man-woman bullshit. As far as I'm concerned, the most competent person needs to take the job. And she showed up, organized it, made it happen, and you just popped in and you think because you got some testicles you're supposed to be doing something?
Do you think that this is my first time and that I'm scared and that I don't know what I'm doing and that I'm just some vulnerable woman that needs somebody to save me and that I just needed a strong man to come and rescue me so that I can... Fuck you, okay? I am strong. Men, it annoys me when people act like men and women aren't similar. Men cry, women cry. Men are strong, women are strong. Men are smart, women are smart. Now some are stupid, both sexes. It doesn't matter. But at the same time, we're not that.
Facts.
We're not that, apart from each other.
Word.
So don't think you're better than anybody because you're not.
And a lot of people don't give credit where credit is due. Like where the civil rights movement talks about Martin, they leave out the women who organized what Martin was doing. That was mostly women who ran the bus boycott and so on.
Absolutely.
So yeah, they have it on film, them having a strategy
That's
meeting.
them organized.
But the women were the ones that made sure everybody showed up on time, got something to eat, fuel was in the cars and the buses, all that stuff. So if you want to say somebody needs to be in charge, I say, sure, whoever can get the job done. So if it's a woman, congratulations, you're getting the job, have fun with it. Because I probably don't want to do it. I want to do the job that I'm good at. And that whole gender role bullshit, alright, whatever.
And if you want to do something different from me, if you don't like my strategy, again, I'm not going to kick nobody for wanting to fight this fight. I think we all need to fight this fight in different ways, in our own individual ways, how we are authentically to make change because we're ourselves for a reason and it's all filled with purpose.
Right.
But it's like at the same time, whew, you do not get to disrespect me. I'm strong for a reason. And even though I am a woman and I am of peace and love, I have these hands and I am progressive. So don't ever get it twisted. And don't let the sewing fool you. My hair is natural and I am Nigerian. So anyway.
Don't leave it on that one. That was fun.
So anyway, continuing on with what we're talking about, pretty much, what changes would you like to see, Mr. Ambitious, in your lifetime? Because this is a forever fight, so this fight is going to outlive us. But what changes would you like to see, at least in your lifetime?
I actually think it's possible within 20 years to get rid of this whole situation. I genuinely believe that it can be done 20 years that we don't have to worry about cops abusing their authority. We literally can get rid of qualified immunity. We can make the police officers personally responsible for their actions along with the police department. Because everything rises and falls on leadership. And if you got the leader telling you it's okay to do this, the blame doesn't fall completely on the person doing the actual action. So there's multiple people's hands who are on the gun. And the most important part that I think I want to see in my lifetime is what we're not talking about. I want it to be a memory of like, hey guys, let's make sure on this Juneteenth we do the ceremony for the people who had to fight this fight. I don't want anybody to keep having to fight the fight. That's where it's at for me. I want us to move on to the other not so important but important fights, like the economy and how the poor are being marginalized and all this stuff. Well, this is a fight of not only the poor but the rich and the talented, not so glamorous, whatever you want to call it, just because of the color of our skins and because we're born in a certain country, it's okay to do these things. That should be true for no one anywhere on earth. That's like my ambition, is that anybody can just eat, drink, and be merry. And the only reason why they wouldn't be able to do that is because of themselves.
That's real. That's real. And it is possible. I believe that that's possible.
Really?
Mine's a little smaller, though. But I do believe that it's possible.
You doing the layup?
Yeah, I'm doing the little. In my lifetime, I would like to see all the cases that are a part of Justice for Georgia to get justice. I believe it's possible. I want to see it in my lifetime. I want these moms to see it in their lifetime. I don't want it to be like Emmett Till, who, even though he hasn't gotten justice, the fight was longer than even his own mom's life. And even though I do believe he will get justice one day, prayerfully he will, at the same time, she deserved to see that. I want these families to see that their loved one got justice in their lifetime. I want to see qualified immunity completely abolished overall. We've gotten it now locally. No, we haven't. I'm getting that mixed up with the band No Knock Warrants. We've gotten that locally. Now, qualified immunity is something that we can get done locally. Yes, it does take Congress, but we can also get it done locally. We can get rid of it through local legislation, through our state reps voting it in that qualified immunity is abolished. So I want to see those things in my lifetime. I would like to see overall racism just gone. Hate for people that are different than you and that aren't like you going. I would like to see privilege for Black people, just like I would like to see privilege for everybody. But specifically Black people, because you would think we were the slave owners and like we were the ones with the hate that we get so much just for wanting fair and equal justice. All we say is we want fair and equal justice. You would thought that we were the slave owners. How dare you? I mean,
you want to be treated like a human?
It's like, come on, And I would love to see that. Now, do I think I can get that done in my lifetime? I know that everyone has their fucked up thoughts, so of course you gotta be realistic with yourself. But if it ever does happen, and I can fa la la and be all happy and shit in the streets because we're all just not racist and happy and fair, that would be great.
I like being able to like somebody and I have to explain why.
Mm-hmm. That too.
That's crazy whenever I'm like, yo, this is my friend right here. They're like, why? I'm like, what do you mean why? But he's white. I'm like, bruh, come on. Family is not who's related to you by blood. It's who you're willing to bleed for. And if the person across from me is a white person, socially speaking, as far as I see them, they're my friend. They're my family. I don't have to explain why they're my friend or family. Unless you're trying to figure out how to buy them a gift. You know what I mean? Or you're trying to figure out how to make them your family too. I don't want you to be asking me for an explanation as to whether or not you want to keep being my friend. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. That's crazy. Like, I can't mess with him. He mess with white people, blah, blah, blah. Well, some people that's supposed to be your kinfolk, they ain't gonna fight for you like some strangers will. So I can't.
Daniel Cameron. Oh, stop. I agree. I agree with being able to bring someone around and other people not question them. I'm team mind your business all day because I'm an introvert, so I mind mine. So I'm team mind your business. If it disturbs you, look the other way. I have friends who are trans. I have friends who are LGBTQ, and at the same time, to me, like, who they love has nothing to do with me. Who they were has nothing to do with me. What they're doing has nothing to do with me. They're my friend, and if you disrespect them, hands. And I feel like people should just be able to be themselves. Just be yourself, and you should be able to get equality for that. You shouldn't be judged for that. You shouldn't be judged, so what if your skin changes colors, and stuff like that. I forgot what it's called, but it's basically like the pigment.
Some of the Michael Jackson shit. what I mean by the ratchet shit. Just leave it in there. It's cool. They'll get used to it.
But basically,
Like,
for anything, I didn't want to say it because I know I'm gonna mispronounce it, and I don't want to be that person. So I just think that people should be able to be themselves and not get hated on for it. You know, if you're skinny, if you're fat, if you got long hair, if you got short hair, if you are white, black, purple, yellow, red, green, whatever. If you're green, you may have to go hospital, or blue, because blue you can't breathe in. I do know that. In green, I think you gotta throw up. Anything else, I'm not really sure, so look it up. But if you're that, you should still be able to be that naturally and be accepted.
You can be naturally dead and accepted. There you go. There you go. That's what we fighting for out here. Equal rights.
I just know someone's gonna use this and be like, just Georgia co-founders. Oh my God.
Man, they don't understand this, whatever.
Y'all know what I mean, okay? So,
I mean, yeah, you shouldn't have to go through too much. Like, I like being able to say to somebody, such and such happened. They be like, oh yeah, that was just how Jace is. You know, it's not because he's a black person or he's a teenager or a child or an adult or whatever. There's no reason to say that that person is like everybody else because of what your expectations are. Just let that person be them.
just let them be them.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
If you're a hateful person, honestly, just say that. Like, there was one time someone passed by. No, honestly, I appreciate it out loud, okay? Because we'll talk about the microaggression and, you know, stuff like that. That burns my gears more. If you're out loud with it, I'm just like, okay. Identified. Thank you for saving my time. So we were at the protest and I was like, hey, can you put a stop to police brutality if you believe that black people should start being killed by the police? You know, can you sign the petition? And he was like, I don't believe that black people should stop being killed. You know? And I was like, okay. All right, next person. Because, like, I know I can't get into a fight with him because everyone else is going to want to jump. So it's like, okay, all right. Now, the ones who pass by are like, but won't come and sign the petition, or that will be like, I want you to know that I've always felt guilty for voting for Trump. I don't care. Are the ones who are like, hey, you know, my mom's racist and I just don't know what to say, but just know that I support you secretly. You're part of the problem. You know, it's just like...
Or if somebody did that to my family, I'd shoot them between the eye,
You wouldn't.
Right. I got kids to think about. Now, I'd put them in the ground. It wouldn't bring my brother back, but it wouldn't bring them back either. So, I mean, it's a lose-lose for me. So,
or when people see Jamarian's poster and they're like, oh, that could never happen to me. I have guns. Guess what? They said that he was an East Atlanta man that had a shootout with police. He didn't have any weapons on him. So if you had guns, your case would probably be harder to solve.
Exactly. It would make it very difficult to prove that you were in the right.
Ignorance is so itchy, isn't it?
Oh my God. It makes us scared.
Anyway.
Allergic to stupid people.
So with all that being said, as the kids taught me. I don't know why I did that. I don't know. What?
As the kids taught you. Oh my God. All right, it's Monday.
All right, y'all. So this was a very, I will say, broken down, very chill episode. Just a conversation between me, Britt, and Mr. Ambitious. And we appreciate everyone who supports the Justice for Georgia podcast. With that being said, don't make me do something embarrassing because you see it almost went again.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next episode.
No justice.
No peace. God bless.